Welcome to HSBC Global Viewpoint, the podcast series that brings together business leaders and industry experts to explore the latest global insights, trends, and opportunities. Make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with new episodes. Thanks for listening, and now on to today's show.
Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of HSBC Perspectives, the podcast series where we explore trend shaping international investment landscape. I am Zhenyi Tang, the Executive Vice President and Head of Banking, Corporate and Institutional Banking, HSBC China. And we have the pleasure to have Mr. Sean Song to be here with us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
This podcast is recorded in HSBC's International Day in Singapore. So the main discussion will be focused on how we see the Chinese companies developing internationally and how they are bringing the best technology, and with an expansion globally. Thank you. So let's get started.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Sean, definitely we see a clear trend globally that the Chinese companies are really expanding rapidly on a global basis. So, and in China we have a saying that no global, no survival. 不出海就出局. So how do you see this trend, and what do you see behind this important trend globally?
I think it goes back to the culture of China. It historically it has a lot of people. It perceived as a very strong country, but actually it has limited resources compared with large population. And secondly, I think this is relatively new, that the consumerism that was brought to China in the last 20 to 30 years. So this combined brings the real drive to Chinese society and Chinese people to going forward. I want to be successful. So I think this is very important. I understand that a lot of people using the word like evolution and everything. This is key, but maybe this is not the first principle. I think if you look at it, society in China, people have this community and this kind of sense that they want to grasp opportunities and really want to be successful. So, and a lot of people there in this market, it's a very good, a testing ground for whatever comes to bring up to the market, whether it's a service or it's like a product. And the reason that a lot of people want to bring new things into the market or the society really drives everything. Our industry, because we are more focusing on the service side, we are on the internet industry, so there are a lot of new things happening. I mean, it could be more challenging, but of course this has been some new trends in this industry. But I think internet relatively, people in China or in other countries are competing on the same level. And I think this also can be a very, very interesting place that people in China can be successful in their own ways. Mm-hmm. And then the export is kind of successful elements to other parts of the world. I think this is what I witnessed in the past 10 to 15 years.
Yes. I totally agree with that, and this is this trend. This is not an only trend. This is the fact, has been there already, and we definitely see it's developing toward a kind of very positive way, right? And of course, for Mobvista as a listed company based in Asia, and you are using your mobile advertising and digital marketing platform to help many developers to acquire new users. So I'm sure you also have your own international strategy. Can you share with us some of your insight on that and how you are doing that on the international strategies?
Yeah, sure. I think first of all, differentiation is very important. If this is a very interesting and lucrative industry, there will be a lot of competitors. So you can either identify yourself companies that making the same product and services, and also maybe you can focusing on other things. I think being a Chinese company in this market, which a lot of our customers are, they can be very interesting in developing some of the apps. I can give you an example, which is, I was visiting our US team 2 months ago. Yep. So I was there trying to, being the CFO of the company, trying to bring up the P&L, right?
Yeah.
So I was
Of course.
I was there to like say, why don't you travel to like in the States and meet your clients, and you have a lot of budget coming to me. You need to come into Asia, countries like China and like Vietnam and these kind of places. And my sales director over there told me that, of course, there is like a very vibrant, like gaming ecosystem in the US. Like they have like EA, which is also being in the news lately. They have a lot of great games like the GTA, right? It's like a lot of like games.
Correct.
But also they found a lot of like mobile games that developed in Asia. And one of the reasons there is that it's kind of easier for them to find talents with a very good mathematical aptitude. And I was wondering why this is relevant. So she told me that because some of the mobile games, behind them, there are a lot of mathematical algorithm
Yes.
behind that to make games more interesting.
Yeah.
Those algos will identify whether the gamers will get bored with the game or they find it interesting.
Interesting. Right.
Yeah, so, and there are a lot of places, of course, like when they identify this opportunity or this moment that some of the gamers want to like buy some weapons, So this is coming down to like how math works behind that.
Indeed.
So this is very interesting. Like, I was like impressed by the diversity of like different people in different areas. They have their own way because like, they are like the very great games, like even legendary games developed in the West. They're also like people, they can do their own thing. So this is one thing that we need to remember, that in this particular place, like Asia, or like the greater China area, there are a lot of opportunities because like people have very different background. So this is one example that I can show it to you.
Yeah. Thank you. I think really, when you are talking about how to develop your business globally, I definitely see the importance of technology, which really can enable the whole ecosystem of your company. Yeah, and this is not alone for Mobvista, and also we see many Chinese companies are really using the modern technology to enable themselves and bring the best ecosystem to their clients, to the supply chain. And so, based on that, do you see the technology development in China has given our Chinese enterprises in their journey to go global, give them a kind of a very good advantage for them to compete globally? How do you see that?
Oh, definitely.
The role of technology.
I mean, I think this is part of a larger puzzle, being interactive with this market for quite a long time. So we all know that China way of doing things, one of the strengths is that they make real long-term plans.
Yes.
Yeah. So and this is really news. I think this like the new industry from the central government of China is called AI Plus.
Correct.
So if you look at the details of this plan, which is fascinating, because I know that people are discussing about like AI developed in the US. They have great models, right? They have like they're leading the way. Their chips, everything.
In a way, in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense. There's other ways to look at it. For example, like if you look at adoption. So I think adoption is going to be another metrics to assess whether AI will become very positive in markets or in society. So look at this plan. So by 2030, the plan says it aims to bring 90% of penetration into all kinds of sectors. Yeah. And even like in 2 years' time, 2027, it says it will bring like 70% in some of the key industries.
Right.
So I think this is also very interesting or like important, a very strong way of China doing things. And a lot of companies or startups can benefit from that, right? This creates new opportunities, even vibrance into this industry. So the adoption rate is very important. So I think this applies to another aspect of technology being adopted in China, not just AI, right? Other things there.
More broader way.
Broader ways, of course. But another thing I think it is, which is also very, very interesting, is that other than making long-term plans, the Chinese companies, they're also trying to be very fast.
Yes.
You and me both know there's like this kind of phrase from the the women's volleyball time is called short, flat, and fast.
短平快.
Yeah, 短平快. Yeah. And this is also another way of looking at adopting technology, right? Because there are always like new technology over there, the first principle way of doing things, but there's always, we need to have companies on the ground adopting those technologies. So that's something like we have a very, very kind of drive in China to adopt those kind of technologies.
Yes.
I think combined with a long-term plan, that is something like a lot of companies can tap into when they're looking into this market.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the technology, maybe we can just have one more step ahead. So there are many technology segmentations, industries. So can you just like list, like for instance, the top 3 tech industries that China are leading, and from your CFO perspective, how are you going to take the opportunity and ready to capitalize on it?
Yeah, sure.
In China or with your own company, for instance.
I think there are a lot of news coverage on that. So EV, of course, like drones, these are very like off top of my mind. This has
EVs,
been,
drones.
yeah, I think this benefits from like a very solid manufacturing base in China, and the Chinese way of developing very sophisticated technology based on just being like a manufacturing base for other companies. But also, I believe in our industry, which is the internet. Like China is leading in its own way. I mean, of course, like I think Silicon Valley is leading, like globally, of course. But if you look at many great companies like Alibaba, recently there's like a lot of talks about this company, and they are very focusing on the e-commerce side. It's I just watched this late Jota interview. In this also like very famous all-in podcast.
Yes.
So they said they're very focusing on the e-commerce and the cloud.
Yeah.
I think being like somehow in that ecosystem by ourselves, we look at that and feel very excited, because one of the largest who benefits from this trend is the financial sector.
Yes.
Because like
like us.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Especially for like e-commerce side, because like it's very difficult for just using pure technology to do cross-border payments, but also it is very important for the banks, financial institutions to navigate through this kind of compliance and also like regulatory regimes. And also I think in the future that the cloud also mentioned, and I think that is also a very interesting perspective of looking at that, because like banking partners, they're running, I think the largest cloud cluster, right? I mean,
Data gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Gas, more and more data.
and there are complaints about like delays in this payment system here and there, and combined with the latest like cryptos and this kind of developments like the stable coin, and combined with cloud technology, I think that is going to be very exciting.
Yes, indeed. So talking about really the financial partners, now, again, thank you for coming to this event of your financial partner, HSBC. And so I'm sure along with your internationalization journey, and the technology is one important weapon or tool that you are using. On the other hand, the financing part is quite important as well, and meaning the financial partner that you are engaging with are kind of very important to you. So as a CFO, so how do you see our financial partners' role, in, for instance, in helping the companies, to weather the storm, to bring operational efficiency, everything? How do you see the importance of our financial partners to you?
Well, I think this is, I've been working with a lot of banks.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think one thing in common that especially large and successful banks, they're very proud of their like risk system, right?
Yeah.
I should say it's like they are
Risk control system.
Yeah, risk control system, and they are very proud of being, not saying like conservative, but they want to see things that are proven, and also they want to bring things to the regulators, right? I think this is good, because like this is the way to like one of the path to ensure you can run the bank for a very long time. But at the same time, I do feel there's a lack of interest in some of the banks to be structurally innovative. I mean, I from like a member of the internet, we never say because we are one thing, we cannot be the other.
Correct.
So I mean, I was kind of amazed by how your bank, HSBC, while being proud of being one of the largest standing bank globally, but at the same time, there's always this kind of unsatisfactory kind of mindset because I was asked by HSBC more than any other banks that where I'm not satisfied.
Wow. That's
And also this is not just like a lip service. And working with HSBC for more than 10 years, there's constant change. I mean, and people with different backgrounds. Some of them, they're from like industry background. Some of them, they're even from like product background. Some of them from like being ex-risk officer. But many of them, they will be coming to the front desk to interact with the clients. And they are like structural changes behind everything. There are words like sandbox, everything of course. But I think the execution level, I was amazed being this bank because I'm running a company. I'm on the CFO side. I'm like the risk guy, in our company. I understand that sometimes the company being a larger than previously their startup, they need this kind of bureaucratic kind of way to make things working and also make things in line. But I think that the tricky part is how well we maintain that, but not lagging behind, like keeping pace with the industry evolution. Right? This is I think it's one of the things that I'm looking into banking partners.
Thank you. I do appreciate your comments, really. And to me, this is really the core principles of HSBC's existing in this world for like 160 years already. First of all, we are really customer-centric. And secondly, we not only look into the client itself, but also we look into the client's industry. And meanwhile, we make ourselves evolving along with the development of the economy, of different industries. 与时俱进.
Yeah.
This is something really we HSBC has been existing for a long time. And
I witnessed that for 10 years.
Thank you for that. Back to our internationalization story, and we see more and more companies, Chinese companies, going global. But needless to say that we see some of the kind of in the storm, regarding the geopolitical situation, or for instance the trade tension, etc. So a lot of the Chinese clients are using the strategy of diversification in their international journey. I'm sure this is the same with your company as well. So how's your feeling? What's your sense on the kind of diversification strategy to help you grow, globally?
Well, I mean, this is a question we always ask ourselves. We're a young company, but we operate in nearly 20 countries.
20 countries.
20 countries. So how we can benefit from that? I think one of the example is that the talents. So I read through the report that it claimed to be that 1/3 of the AI engineers are in China. So we have a lot of Chinese engineers. They're very good. They are one of the reasons that we can doing our business smoothly and successfully. But also, we're also looking at the engineers in the West, for example, particularly in Silicon Valley, right? We compare those engineers. I mean, of course, China has a lot of population, so it's abundance in numbers.
Yeah.
But when it comes to addressing the real challenge, and there are always these kind of ideas coming from the engineers who's received their education in Stanford in the West, and because I think this is different kind of education system that Chinese engineers, they are solid in the fundamentals, but when they're trying to address a new challenge that they may not be very up to it because like they believe that they need to build everything ground up. But sometimes you need people to be crazy, right? this is how you innovate sometimes.
Yes.
So I think I met with this kind of engineer who is also like born in China, but educated in the West, and he is like the craziest engineer I've ever met. He's disobedience of the traditional way of thinking of things, and they want to change everything. It's very difficult to do that, but sometimes you need this kind of mindset in your company, so you can think of something that is not just trailing your competitors, right? Yeah. Also like leading the way.
Talent matters.
Exactly. So I think this is sometimes, I also mentioned like the mathematical aptitude, just a few minutes ago. I think this is how you look at diversification.
Yes.
And of course there are other diversifications, for example, like the payment system, right?
Yes.
Exactly, right?
Correct.
We are serving this industry, especially serving for the small and medium players in this industry. And because we believe they are underserved somehow. Of course, they have very, very new ways of building their products, but they also have different novelty in how they can pay us, right? It's like this. So it is very difficult for you to find, like 2 to 3 years ago, that a vendor can handle some of the stable coin payment, but it's easier for you to find it in different other countries, for example, like Singapore. Right?
Yeah.
So I think this is also the way how to structure your business, because a payment system can be really key.
Yeah.
It sometimes determines who we can work with or who we cannot, and also working with a solid payment vendor, it's de-risk some of the business, right? Because payment can be messy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are two examples there. Yeah. So I do encourage, these days, people have this kind of mindset of tribalism. Yeah. It's I belong to certain parts of the world. That part of the world, I'm not used to that. I mean, I live in Singapore. I also live in Hong Kong. And I do witness people and companies, they don't like how things operated locally. Because they are from different kind of culture background. Yeah. I think that is something we need to address. Yeah. We need to welcome this kind of differentiation, different kind of way of doing things, and making that part of the strength of the company.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, if you travel different countries and you have this kind of optimistic view, whenever you meet with this kind of different approach, I think that will bring new energies into the business when you're trying to run global one.
Yeah. Talk about the new energy. Really, now we are in Singapore.
Yeah.
So do you ready, or are you ready to use the international hubs like Singapore, Hong Kong to really further develop your business under this diversification strategy?
Hong Kong, Singapore, they are not just friendly to international business, and they are very well managed places.
Totally agree.
And they upheld international standards of rule of law, and they have a very good financial system and judicial system that boosts the confidence of your clients and your partners. So this is very important. I mean, when you are running a larger business, there are requirements for your company to be getting comfortable with not just working with your partners, clients, and also trying to work things out with them when there's a difference between. These two places, they have a lot of case of resolving previous, litigations or these kind of issues, and also the institutions in those places, they will tell you the right way of how to do things there. Especially for young company, you need to learn from some of these institutions.
A lot of successful and unsuccessful
exactly,
places, right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good.
And also, for example, Singapore, Hong Kong, I think they're representing corridors for you to be successful in the East and the West.
Yes.
And
the bridge,
exactly like the bridge. So that's why we have a lot of investment structurally in these two places, and also being the management, one of the management of the company based in Singapore, and already like several years. And I think we benefited a lot from that.
Great. And I totally agree with you. These are some of the benefit of by leveraging the advantages of these international hubs for our companies, to further fast develop globally. Right. This is a smart way to do that. And maybe the final questions really is about China. So how do you see the confidence from your industry, from your company, to see the future development of China, especially on this very important juncture in time?
Yeah. So I think there's a new framing, like in the West, that people are saying that the Chinese way is of the engineering culture. Yeah, there's like a new book by Mr. Dan Wang. It's called Breakneck. Read book is fascinating. So it describes how things are engineered, not just about a company, but how on the policy level, that to build up things and have a very clear goal. That's how it comes to what the plans we have in the last couple of decades. I think that is going to be, in the long run, something is going to further boost the economy. We have a lot of confidence in that. At the same time, I think the China way of developing its own policies, I think the many things that be wrongly perceived. Maybe not wrongly perceived. It's like people do look at things going back and forth.
Different angle.
There are a lot of talks about being unpredictable if you are doing business in China. I think being a participant of that market, I'm not going to say this is not true, but I'm going to say there are more occasions, they are like in the prevailing sense of time, that the policies are predictable. I think that's one of the reasons why there are still a lot of financial institutions, they are very interested in investing in China.
Yeah. Well, it is. I totally agree with you. For those who say, okay, things are not very predictable, I think they are maybe not doing their homework good enough.
Exactly.
Right? If you really deep rooted in the country and understand the system and follow the market trend and really understand the entrepreneurs' resilience and the people's resilience, then you will find this is still a very, very good market with huge potential. And don't forget, this is the second largest world economy in the world, and we have plenty of things to do in this particular market.
Because this is like, from first principle, if you want to engineer something, you need to have predictability, right?
Yes.
You need to have a roadmap and everything. So the claim that is, I think, fundamentally go against that kind of culture, which I don't think it is true.
Yeah, correct. And thank you, Sean. I think we have discussed a lot of interesting topics and very important topics. And thank you very much for coming to HSBC's perspective. And for those audience who are listening to this, thank you very much. And we're looking forward to a more successful cooperation between Mobvista and HSBC, and wish your business and your career a much successful one in the coming future by leveraging all the resources, all the platforms that we have. And in between, HSBC is more than happy to help and to assist in any ways we can. Thank you very much, Sean, for joining us. For those audience, thank you very much for the listening. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure.
Thank you for joining us at HSBC Global Viewpoint. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. Make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with new episodes.